Welcome back, America. And look who joined me. She's back from the White House where she got 4 questions into President Trump during a public event today. Amanda Head is here. She's going to lean right in on this next interview. Joining us now, a great legal expert who's got a fantastic show out in Las Vegas called What's Right Show. I love that title. Sam Ruskie. Sam, good to have you on.
Hey, pleasure to be with you guys.
I love your show. I love all the work you do. And I think a lot of people are trying to figure out, what are Democrats up with? They seem to be opposing the president in the courts a lot about things that are 70, 80% issues in the polling. America's want it done, and Democrats are actually trying to trip it up. Are they just misreading the polls?
I think so, John. And look, there is obviously this is the Democratic strategy, right? You've lost the election. You don't have Congress. You're out of power. So you're going to go to the federal courts and you're going to file these challenges. And they have been numerous, right? There's almost 300 legal challenges, individual cases and actions filed in just, since the beginning of Trump's term. This is wild stuff. Lots of cases on immigration, lots of cases on crime. These are popular issues with the American public. So I think, I think that you're seeing these cases, many of them get disposed of as they go up through to the Court of Appeals. And so it's slowing down the administration a touch, but some of it really seems to be a futile effort as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Sam, D.C. looks very, very different recently thanks to the National Guard being here. It's so much safer. I want to ask you a legal and also a policy question for Democrats, or I guess a strategy question for Democrats. There will be legal issues along the way if President Trump tries to put National Guard troops in these cities that do not fall under the home rule here in Washington, D.C. But if mayors oppose it, instead of saying, yes, please come and help us make our city safer, don't they run the risk of looking like they are pro-crime to their constituents?
Well, of course. And by the way, when it comes to home rule and Trump's authority, Trump will have to get, after 30 days, basically approval from Congress. So Congress can extend this. And, I'm watching much more closely what the reaction's going to be from congressmen from the Senate. I think, there's a strong likelihood that Trump will get the support there. Now, as for the Democrats running D.C. and the Democrats running every other blue city that's devolved into a crime cesspool, I think that the Democratic strategy has been from the onset to bring this blight to cities in order to create more dependency and shore up, Democratic political power. I think it's really that nakedly obvious as what they're doing. So I'm not certain that this is going to get through to Democrats. It's going to cause some sort of, ideological or political pivot. I think they're going to keep doing what they're doing. It's part of their plan, and it's worked well for them up until this point. But Trump is showing them up and saying, look, this doesn't have to be a crime-ridden nightmare. You can, just with a little bit of political will and exercising your authority, you can quickly bring about significant change.
Amazing. I have a funny feeling that the next big ruling that will get quickly to the Supreme Court will be the way the Abrigo Garcia case is litigated. All right. So they offer this guy a plea deal. He would get a great deal to Costa Rica, right? He would have been deported to Costa Rica, not a bad place to get kicked out of. Or kicked out to, and yet he turns it down, and he has been arrested for a crime. Usually, if you're arrested for a crime, you don't have to be convicted before you're ousted. They're suing to block this. A judge is blocking it. Is that judge going to get overturned as we move up the food chain in the court system?
Absolutely. The administration is perfectly within their rights to get rid of this guy. By the way, you're right. What an idiot. I mean, he could have had La Pura Vida down there in Costa Rica. Instead, he gets Uganda. There might be a challenge to where he's being sent, but I think basically, broad strokes, he's not in good shape legally, and this is just an effort to delay this and to use it for political fodder. But this is just politically, this is the wrong guy to make the face of your resistance to Trump. This is not a good dude. So the whole thing has been a head scratcher for me, and I think a losing argument for the Democratic Party.
All right, I want to ask you about redistricting. You've got California suing the Trump administration suing California, Texas getting sued, lawsuits all over the place. Does it ultimately end up at the Supreme Court and get settled there, or does the redistricting / gerrymandering, depending on which party it is, does that just continue and the fight goes on?
Yeah, so that's interesting. So if we're going to talk about California, there was just a case filed, I think today or yesterday, by the Republicans in the Assembly. All right, so the 12 Republicans in the state legislature, it's more than that, but basically very few of them, filed a lawsuit to the California Supreme Court because this is, there's some procedural problems that this has. I don't know what the Supreme Court in California, I expect fully that the Supreme Court in California will side with Newsom. Okay, so that itself is a futile effort. Will that case, is there a federal constitutional question here that would be appealed to the Supreme Court of the United States? And I'm not exactly certain because this matter has everything to do with the California Constitution. So I don't see the SCOTUS taking this up. The plaintiffs might find some unique constitutional arguments by which to get the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, to look at this. But that's the big challenge to it. It's not a done deal. It still has to pass a special election. 50% plus one have to vote this thing in. A lot of Californians are upset about it. So we'll see. But at the end of the day, again, it's just Gavin Newsom may win this battle. I don't think he's going to win the war, given all the red states that are going to do the same thing and basically wash this all away.
I think you're right. Earlier in the show, we had the Oversight Project, and they're doing some great work looking at all of the issues with the pardons and the use of the auto pen for legislation and other things. They believe there's a constitutional challenge, one that actually the Biden Justice Department themselves actually raised in an internal memo that was made public in the last couple of days, that maybe Joe Biden just giving classes and saying, you guys decide who it is, might be challengeable. Do you think there's a case ripe to go to all the way up to the Supreme Court on whether Biden's pardons are legal?
Yeah, sure. And I do. And I think the way that case, that controversy gets created, and Trump is in control here, is if they were to file charges, the DOJ were to file charges against a recipient of one of these dubious, at best, pardons. So suppose for a minute that Schiff, related to stuff that he did with the January 6th Select Committee, that he gets charged for that, and his lawyer will come in and say, well, we've got this pardon, and the Trump lawyers, the DOJ lawyers, will say, well, no, you don't, because it's not valid. And now you have a controversy that can make its way up through the courts, and it's core Article 2 powers. So I think, John, it's ripe for review, and it's a matter of great importance. So I would not be surprised at all if through some kind of mechanism or path like that, it gets up to the SCOTUS.
Can we imagine a Trump v. Schiff case? That could be a big one. I'd love that. I think there'd be a lot of spectators in the Supreme Court for that. Sam, real quickly, how do people watch your great show? I love the great work you do.
Well, thank you. So we're all over the podcast. We got a local show, great local show in Las Vegas, but we talk about national issues at What's Right Sam on Twitter. So that's where you find me.
That's great. Well, thank you for sharing your insights today. Great to have you on the show. We'll get you back on real soon.
Keep up the good work, John. Love it.
We'll try. Thank you, sir. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to discuss about being more mobile and how it can affect your health more than you think. We'll talk about it in our weekly health segment up next.